Hi, I'm Luke Serveld. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. Today we're going to hang out with these two units. So we've got the Prolycht Orion 675FS and the Nanlux Evoke 900c. Many people may already be familiar with the 675. It's become a workhorse for me. I mostly use it with the Fresnel, and that is just a super handy light to pop stuff into the background, or as an edge light, or as a key potentially, but usually I use it as more of a service light, and both of them in conjunction with each other. So that is a light that I like a lot. I love the full color capability, but I mostly use it in the CCT range. I like that it's an all-in-one, that you just have one power cable coming out. That's great. This is a unit that I'd like to compare to the new unit, and that is the Nanlux 900c. And so it's quite similar in size. Maybe it's a little bit smaller on the head, but that's because you've got a power box separate, which is actually kind of nice because, you know, for rigging and stuff like that, it could get a little heavy at 900 watts. So it's nice to have that separate, and you get a great clamp with it. So that's also a big bonus. Just that they've worked that out, and that comes with the unit. Comes with just a regular intensifier, so it's sort of a medium intensifier, and we'll have both units with a medium, and then eventually we'll have both with Fresnels. So, you know, when you look at the front, this is quite a large COB compared to the smaller COB of the 675. And they are both ostensibly in the RGBACL configuration, so rather than RGB WW. So yeah, those are the two units we'll be playing with, and I'll pop on this 4x4 mosaic as the light on talent. And what we'll do is back here we'll put up a white so you can kind of see the shape of the beam, and then we'll put up a head as well, headly, and take some meter readings. So just get an idea for what the sort of raw light is like, how the colors compare, and then also when we put the Fresnels on, how the shape of those Fresnels compare. For me, this is a unit that I use a lot, and this is a unit I hope to use a lot. So I love the idea that they're quite similar in configuration, and with what you can put on them as far as you know, all the same modifiers and Fresnel adapters and such. So you know, I think these are going to be a good pair, but let's check them out together. We've got Headley Standwell in place, about 9 feet from our units. Got a little ultra bounce here, and then the mosaic is another ways away. That's at full. I have control of it on blackout, but I don't have control of color. So somehow the profiles aren't lining up yet with this, but at least I have control. I can turn it on and off. So let's start with this. And just to give you sort of a base idea of where we're at, foot candle wise, 12-foot candles here to Headley. Then if we go to the 675, and these are going to be both daylight. They're with their medium intensifiers. And this is just full bore, and I'll wave them around a little bit so you can see how they compare, you know, what their area that they're hitting. So this is the Prolycht 675 on the nose, 670 foot candles. And then out here, it's 97 foot candles. So it drops off pretty quickly to the outside here. Yeah, 100 foot candles, and we're out pretty quickly. And let me just wave it around. So You can kind of see the beam. Then we go to the 900C. Here on the nose, 1200. 140 out here. It drops pretty quick too. So yeah, these medium intensifiers, they're on the narrow side at this distance. So just showing you the same kind of thing. And you can't really see it too well because it's so bright in my camera. So there you go. That is just a quick look at that. In terms of color, let's go back to the 675. I have it at 5600 in blackout. Here it's like 5349. And then we'll pop over to the 900C, pretty much 5500. I'm going to flip over these units to the Fresnel. Then you can see how that works. Here's the 675. 340 on the nose there. 90. Yeah, it's quite similar to the medium intensifier in a sense. That's spot 1300. And it drops off to 8 right here. Let's see if it changed much in terms of color. 52. So we lost, or we got a little warmer with the Fresnel. Changing over to this 900C. Boom. Okay. Give you an idea of the a little larger, obviously. Quite a bit brighter, wider. Okay. 640 foot candles here. 250. 90. So it's much more even. 90 over here. So it's a much larger field of view. And then we'll spot it. Looks like we're aimed down a little bit. 2900. And we still have 32 over here. So let me keep it in this position and flood it out. 800, yeah. And here we're still at 400. Much wider field of view with this lens, of course. Now, just because we can, let's do a little color action. Bring the temperature to 3200, and then we'll do the crossfade. And this does also have another white as part of its profile. Let's see how that shows up on camera. That looks good to eye. 2% on blackout, and it's incredibly saturated in real life. But the camera's not necessarily seeing that. Okay, well, that is the 900C, and let's just dial through a number of these. I'm showing you both units side by side, but they weren't timed the same, so it's a little out of kilter. The 675 is also at a disadvantage because of the low intensity level. For more in-depth discussion of relative quality of color, you'll have to look for presentations by smarter people. I found the color saturation and the incremental separation of hues more nuanced in the 900C than I normally see in LED created light, like the yellows, for example. I'm sure manufacturers will continue to update their hardware and firmware so that their units can perform even better at any point of the color or intensity dial. Good things ahead. It probably wasn't super helpful, but for me, it helped me see just how much brighter that 900C is, and also the width of the Fresnel. Right now, it works well with the 12-inch, and when you purchase the unit, you get a percentage off on the Fresnel price as well. So it's actually a pretty good combo. The 675 is going to continue to be a workhorse, but I can totally see how the 900C will fit in as well, sort of, you know, in between that 675, 600 range and going into the 1200s. Yeah, you know, just more tools, more and more units on my truck are RGB. You know, have some version of RGB, ACL, RGB, WW. The panels tend to be WW. The COBs are either or. And, you know, when it comes to the 675, I really like it for, you know, most instances because the Fresnel is nice and small, and I mean, in terms of just size, and so it's easy to work with that way. When I have to rig it, then often I'll go to like the Lightstorm 600C, because then I, you know, if it's on a Menace or something, I can use the control box as a counterweight on the Menace, and it's just having a lighter head is a nice thing. Here in this case with the 900C, the head is a little bit lighter than the 675, but you know, not a lot, and you have that small power box, which is great as a counterweight or as just an easy box to rig with its clamp, with everything. I don't really have any negatives, just, you know, out of the gate here. I can see these working together nicely, and also as an alternative to an even brighter, you know, 1200 type unit. And then just one thing I wanted to point out is that what I appreciate about Nanlux is that, at least in San Francisco, they're partnering with rental houses, with expendable houses, with fix-it people. So if I have an issue, I can bring it to a person locally who can order the part, fix it, if I can't fix it myself in the field. That is a wonderful thing. I'm encouraged to hear that other manufacturers are trying to do this, you know, make sort of a network of localized people that are empowered to fix their units. And that way you're not always having to send stuff far away to get it, you know, then you just don't know when you get it back. That works pretty well with FedEx and stuff like that, but if you're in a faraway country from the center where the manufacturer is, it's really nice to have those local folks who can work on your units. Well, there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Let's do one more thing, and that is take a rabbit rounder so we can swap out the rings. This is just a medium-sized box with magic cloth, and let's just see how it works on these two different units. So we'll start with the 675. Last night I gave it my best shot getting the rabbit rounder onto the 675, but the tolerances are very tight, so I gave up at a certain point. This evening I tried again with daylight and putting it down on its face and putting the unit on that. I still didn't get it to go. 100-foot candles, 5342, so about 5400. Yep. So let's bring it down a little. So here I wanted to change the intensity of the light so that it would correspond to the f-stop of the camera. Okay, 35 is about a 2.8. So we take this down to 32, and then let's crossfade over, take down our white. So at the moment in blackout, there is one profile available for the 900C, and that's RGB W 8-bit. So I'm actually in the hue aspect, and I'm on the color wheel and just taking my finger and moving it around the circle, and that's how I'm getting these different colors. And I'm pretty happy with the saturation and with the definition between color hues. I think this unit is going to be a really good team player.